Good morning to every single one of you here in Malaysia. Good morning to every single one of you there in Australia. Good evening to every single one of you in US, and I guess all those of you in UK have already slept. Have a good night rest, and if you are watching us still, big up to you. You are staying awake just for Step Up Showtime. And just a couple of updates. As you all know, Step Up Showtime used to be my post match reaction show, but from now onwards, it would be every Sunday morning, my Sunday morning, your Saturday night, and we will be discussing the weekly Spurs talk with some of the guests, some of the friends here. It could be one, it could be two. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how we can take Step Up Showtime forward. Post match reactions will be still on after every game over the night. I'll update the timings on Twitter and on Instagram. It will still be going on, but Step Up Showtime might turn out to be a post match reaction as well, depending on the game times. But it would mainly now be on a Sunday morning. Uh, Without further ado, I would like to invite my guest from Australia. He's none other than Jason Heels from Total Aussie Spurs. How are you doing, Jason?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Actually, I just recently moved from my old place back to my parents' place. So yeah, a bit tired because yesterday I was moving all the stuff and stuff like that. Now I'm kind of more or less settled. Just settling into the new atmosphere a bit. That's all. How are things in Australia?
Oh, it's good, mate. Nice early Sunday morning. So actually, this show works out for me, being as a Sunday morning's the only morning I get free this week. But nice cold weather, turning down into the winter, so not much else to complain about.
All you people who have winters are so lucky. I only get summer in Malaysia. Nothing else other than a summer. Uh, yeah, I really envy you guys who have like three weathers, four weathers. But big up, bro. Let me go through some of the chats. Who is there? We've got Carl Simpson. Carl Simpson, as always, still awake. He's with us. And then we have Scott M. I'm watching from Malaysia. Help Eugene has locked me in the trunk of his car. Are you serious, bro? Are you in Malaysia? Really? Get in touch with me, bro. I'll rescue you from the trunk of Eugene's car. Is it the same car where Eugene has all that red drink spilled over his roof? I don't know if it's that one. I don't know how you're surviving in that, but best of luck to you. So, Jason, let us know what are your thoughts on this week. Whatever has happened, what's going to happen. Let's go into that, man. Like, what are you hoping for from Spurs? Like me, are you disappointed or were you not surprised by whatever happened with Paratici? What that Daniel Levy interview? What do you think?
Well, I think it was inevitable, really. The whole mess with Paratici with Juventus. I know this week Juventus have been acquitted of their or they won their appeal, so they gained their 15 points back. But with Paratici, I think it was inevitable. The fact that we signed, we hired Scott Munn as the chief football director or officer. I think it was inevitable that Paratici
It's
was either
Scott
going to
M.
be
It's Scott M. Not Scott Munn. It's Scott M. This guy.
Scott M. Oh, well, Scott M. Please sort our team out, all right, mate. Please. Um, yeah, so I think Paratici was always gonna leave. The fact that it's taken so long for Levy to make that move is kind of surprised me, but it was inevitable, really. And I'm glad he resigned. That means we don't have to pay him out, I don't think. So that'll be a plus in Levy's corner. But I mean, apart from that, it wasn't. I don't think it was sustainable for the club to keep him anyway. And for me, I don't think he's been that good for us in terms of, he did bring in the likes of Kulu and Bentancur, but apart from that, most of his signings haven't been that good.
Except maybe Romero, I think, to a certain extent. But
Was
then
Romero his? Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
Romero
So
was
apart from
yeah.
those three, I wouldn't. And maybe Forster, because Forster has done well this season
Yeah,
when he
Foster
has
was
been called
okay.
upon. But apart from that, I think Paratici going isn't the be all and end all, and hopefully we get a new director of football that actually has the same mindset of the club and their ethos of going forward.
Yeah. By the way, since you brought up Foster, do you think like Foster has turned out to be like our best summer signing at so far? Like the rest, none of them have
Yeah,
done that well in a way.
you can give a little mention to Perisic. He has played good in some games, but I think Forster, for me, stepping into Lloris's shoes, Lloris hasn't been good this season. I
Yep.
feel like Lloris has passed it. I personally would start Forster for the rest of the season. I don't think he's done anything wrong. Maybe one or two games where he got beaten in the near post that he shouldn't have. But apart from that, yeah, Forster has been our probably our best signing this season, which is a surprise because we were looking to the likes of Perisic and Basuma to hold that title. But you know, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, man. Seriously, it is what it is. But before we go into Spurs, I actually forgot to do something. Let us know how long have you been following Spurs. I mean, I know now, but usually it's the Step Up Spurs tradition. Before I get my guests up, I usually ask them a little bit about their history of following Spurs, the years of their suffering, their love for football, so that yes, these wonderful people in the chats know your footballing background a little bit.
Well, born and bred in London, North London to be exact. If anybody is from the UK, Islington. So you all know where I hail from. Moved to Australia when I was 10 with my family, but been supporting Spurs pretty much all my life. Half my family's Arsenal, half my family's Tottenham. And like I said in the back room, my primary school was actually about a stone throw away from the Emirates Stadium. So born and bred out of Arsenal territory, but bleed the white and blue. So it's been pretty much my whole life I've been supporting Spurs.
I see. And I assume you were you playing football back in North London, or your love for football started in Australia?
Um, well, no, the love for football started in England, but I was never good at football. I ended up playing rugby league when I moved out to Australia.
Oh,
But
nice. You used to play rugby league.
yes, unfortunately, that's the game I'm good at. I'm not very good at football. I've got two left feet. Um, but
Like that guy from Chelsea. What's his name? Madueke.
Modric, oh yeah,
Mudrik. Yes,
what a
Mudrik.
bust
Yes.
that was. I wish he went to Arsenal because then it would have failed for them as well.
Yeah, man.
Shout out,
Arlington.
Carl.
Arlington know it well. Why you say shut up, Cal? Is there an inside joke that I don't know?
No, it's he knows Islington well, and he lives just outside London. So Islington's a section of London that I'm from.
Oh, okay. So you guys are pretty much from the similar area, I
Yeah,
suppose. Okay, and then just want to ask you another thing, like being someone all the way from Australia, just let us know, like, how is football like in Australia? You have been staying there now, I suppose, for at least 20 years.
yeah, 20 years this year. Funny enough,
Yeah. Okay, so now we know your age. You're around your early
30.
30s.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Football life in Australia, it's starting to grow. We have the A League, which is, I would say, League Two, League One quality at best. We have had the likes of Robbie Fowler, ML Heskey, Del Piero has played in our league, but
Yes,
it's
Del
starting to
Piero.
really grow thanks to the likes of Sam Kerr in the women's game. The women's game is really promoting football out in Australia. However, the quality isn't as good as the rest of the world. I want to give a little shout out to my nephew, who's actually, funny enough, he's in the academy side for Juventus out here in Australia in the under eights.
Nice.
Um,
Juventus
so
has an academy in Australia. Wow.
yeah, they do. They have a Villarreal has one too out here. But my nephew, yeah, he's 8 years old and he's playing in the Juventus academy. They could be going to Europe for a youth cup knockout if they win their competition this year. But football's growing. It's probably going to overtake rugby. Unfortunately, it's not as fast as what I would like. The league setup is the same as kind of like America, where they have salary caps and no one gets relegated. But they're working on changing that for the better of the Australian game. So
That's good. That's good to hear. I mean, it's always it's always a good thing to see, like the nations that are not out there in the football heritage, that much, doing well, coming in. The sports is spreading, it's getting well. And one thing that I really love seeing is that as I think if you watched my show last week, I was discussing that with Ellie. The women's football is growing lately as well. Australia being one of the nations that's carrying it. By the way, we have someone in the chat with the name Lee Heels. Lee Heels, is it your
It's my
nephew?
older brother. That's my
Oh,
older
it's your older
brother.
brother. Okay, is his son who plays for
Yes,
you,
yes,
Lee?
it's his son.
Okay, big up to you, Lee Heels. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to have the Heels brother one day. We can do a show called Step Up Showtime with Heels.
Well, there's three of us, so
Yeah. Oh, he's also part of Total Aussie Spurs, is it?
yes.
Oh, great. We'd love to have you guys on someday. So, do you guys play socially in a way as well? That much?
In terms of playing football, no, unfortunately, like as I said, I'm not very good at football. My other two, but Lee's actually was the one that actually could have made it if he tried. But
How tall is he?
oh, he's shorter than me. He's about what 5'4"? No, he's about 5'8", 5'9".
Okay. I feel more belong now. When I go on streams, I tell people I am 5'7". They all make fun of me because all these people in UK, US, their height is like 6'5", 6'7",
Nah.
6'8", and I'm like 5'7". I feel a bit left out. So now, as you told me, it's 5'8". I feel in the same line. So yeah.
Yeah, the Hills family aren't that tall. We're all under 6 foot. I think Brad's the youngest, but he's just 6 foot. So
He just said 5'8". Yeah,
yeah,
five
that's
feet eight is
Lee.
not bad. It's taller than Messi if you realize. The other day I was just realizing that yeah, I'm taller than Messi even. So if Messi can play, I can play as well.
Yeah, oh well. I mean, I'm 5'10", so if that's the case, then I should be the next Australian, or I should say English Messi because I am English. But yeah,
Yes,
height
you
doesn't
are.
matter really.
You can play. You can play for both England and Australia, I suppose.
Um, Possibly if I did, but I would always pick England.
I see.
It's even in
So
rugby league. I always said to them if I ever made representative football, I'd always or rugby, I should say, I'd always play for England. Never
I
forget
see.
where I'm from. So
I see. So Lee, he's just revealed his height. He's 5'8". Carl Simpson is 6'2". See, so all these people 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Uh, Will was the other day joking with me on his stream that his 11-year-old is taller than me. He's already
wouldn't
5 feet
surprise me.
6. Yeah, those guys. I don't know what do you guys eat. Like, what's in your diet? You guys are extremely tall. Let me know, guys. Like, what recipe you all have? Uncle Murph, is that your uncle, by the way? Jason.
Nah, that's actually the other Hills brother. That's Brad. He's the youngest.
Oh, how many brothers you have?
Oh, I have three brothers.
Oh,
But there's two
great.
of them there. Yeah.
Good to have the Heels brothers today on the stream. Really, nice to know you guys as a family. It's always good to. The other thing also is it's kind of good to have families like love the football. I mean, and I suppose all of you support Spurs.
Yeah, I will say Brad in his wisdom as a child switched over to Tottenham. He was an Arsenal supporter back when he was young, but earlier, I would say before he was 12. But the influence of watching games with me and my older brother kind of switched him over to Spurs, and he hasn't looked back ever since.
Nice, that's good. I mean, in my family, it's even worse because I have an Arsenal fan. So one of my brothers is an Arsenal fan. So yesterday, I don't know if some of you guys were there. He just came home to my parents' place, and I was just going through the wardrobe because I was we shared the wardrobe as well. So I was just putting all my clothes in there, and I saw an Arsenal shirt. I was like, okay, let's wear this Arsenal shirt and go on Bob's show and give him a shock. I wore
Oh,
that. That was kind of hilarious, but Bob didn't allow me on his stream. The moment after that, he was like, "Go and change that shirt." So that's just my family, but we hardly watch football together like we are in my family because uh, lately in my family, I think most of us uh, were into other sports. Like I used to be a badminton player.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to play district level back in Pakistan. Then After that, even in Malaysia, when I came here, I tried playing under club level and all that, but then started working and all that, so couldn't continue. Uh, then my other brother, my younger brother, he's into cricket. My two of my younger brothers, and the youngest one is into football a bit. So in my family, football love is not there as much as I think the Heels family. And yeah, that's more about you. You in terms of football. What do you do, Jason?
Oh, I just it's a nice easy job of testing concrete, if that's what you're asking.
Nice.
It's a construction job, pays the bills. So it's not what I want to do, but it's what I am doing, and been doing
It's
it for
great.
5 years.
It's
So
great. It's great. Uh, Genetics and luck, as my sister is 5 feet two. I guess diet plays a role as well. Yes, I almost got banned. Carl Simpson was there and he was making fun of me on the stream. But big up to you. How did I start sporting Spurs? Are you asking me or are you asking your brother? How did I start sporting
he
Spurs?
knows how I did it. So
Of course, he knows that. Uh, I guess I was kind of conned into it in a way. I was like some of my friends, they started a FPL chat group. I mean, in my church, and they invited me like, okay, we are doing FPL together as a community this year round, and they invited me in the chat. And they all used to discuss the football talks, and yeah, this thing is happening in this team, and all that. And I used to feel a bit left out because they were all Man U fans and all Liverpool fan. They all tried to get me into Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and but me being me, I'm always the kind of person like I try to explore things on my own. I don't get influenced very easily. So I told them like, okay, I'll choose a team as well. Within a week, I started researching. The times and the thing was that time Spurs was at the top of the table. It's that September international break, the first three games that Nuno came, he won, and we were at the top of the table. And I was looking through the players in FPL as well. Spurs players were getting a good rating. Like Sun was, I think, the highest scoring striker. I put him in my FPL, and then I put Regulon as my defender. So I looked into the stats as well. Yeah, they were doing pretty well. I looked into the history of Spurs. There was glory, but I knew that yeah, they are currently not winning things. I knew all about that. I researched a bit on Glenn Hoddle and his time. Uh, I love their tagline to dare is to do things like that. And then I started listening to Esther, glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. The first time when I started sporting Spurs, I think I listened to it like for 2-3 hours straight. And that's how you can say the Spurs DNA got into me. I told my friends that yes, I'm supporting Spurs. And they all told me like, yeah, Spurs, are you sure you're supporting Spurs? Like they haven't won trophies and all that. I'm like, I don't care. Then somebody started telling me about Daniel Levy, like, you know, that guy, he doesn't span and all that. He's the main problem of Spurs. And I guess we'll get into that topic later as well. Uh, and they told me that they are famous being Spursy and all that. And since I started supporting Spurs, we lost 3 games in a row. We lost to Palace. After that, we lost to Chelsea. We lost to Arsenal, and that was just me. But and you'll be surprised actually that I bought my jersey, my first Spurs jersey, on that North London derby day that we lost to Arsenal. So it was kind of shattering. I posted a picture on my FB in the morning, like my Spurs jersey just arrived. I'm all geared up for the North London derby, and we lost that North London derby.
yeah, you picked the wrong time to start supporting Spurs. A couple of years before that, and you would have had a few things to talk about. But
At least Champions League, that Ajax. I actually watched
yeah,
that game back then. The Ajax game. I also watched that Liverpool final. But that time I was not a Spurs supporter in a way. I just used to watch football for the sake of just watching football. Um, Although I was not into football, I'm the kind of person like I like to watch some of the main events like Champions League, some of the major Premier League games. I'm always kind of in touch with most of the sports like
mm.
cricket. Uh, Australia cricket is a big thing in Australia as well. Any are you cricket? Are you guys cricket fans?
Well, funny enough, my half my family in England are very big cricket fans, but we are not, unfortunately. Football and rugby is my family. We don't really care about the Ashes or cricket. But I have a funny story, and people might not know this, but the main reason why we at Heels Sports Spurs is because our dad actually was in the academy for Tottenham when he was young. And I think
Oh,
at the age of 15, he decided that chasing girls and boosting cars was more important than his football career, and
oh,
ended up getting kicked out of the academy. So that is why, as much as we all were based in
Mr.
Arsenal
Heels, that's
territory,
how your sons are describing you on the stream.
yeah, boosted. God bless his soul. He's passed away, but
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Sorry about that.
that's fine, mate. It's just that's the story of us. Dad was a Tottenham academy, and we always sit there and used to say, if only he didn't chase girls and steal cars, we could be we could still
Oh,
be
he
back in
stole
England.
cars as well. Wow.
Yeah, well, London, North London. God, 40 years ago, it's he was a bit of a terror, our dad, but yeah, he was that good. He could have actually played for Tottenham if he tried.
Oh, nice. Yes, that would have been great. We should get Ali on the stream that day. Maybe might be of the same era as your dad, because Ali used to be in the Spurs Academy as well. She used to play for the ladies' side. Yeah,
Oh,
maybe your dad went after Ali for a short while. Who knows?
never
Because
know, never know.
Ali, if you know, she was with me on stream last week on
Yep.
this show as well. She used to play for the Spurs ladies, and she sometimes shared with me like how sometimes they used to interact with with the
The
boys
men's
team and
side,
all that.
yeah.
So all those stories. I guess it's part of the footballer's life as well, the fun vibes and all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the stuff recently that's happened with the likes of Greenwood and that, footballers tend to get in trouble more often than not when it comes to ladies.
Yep,
So,
like look at the downfall of Dele Ali.
yeah, I mean, what do we do? It's unfortunate. That's the way it goes with fame and ladies. So some men like Kane seem to be able to handle it and have a long, loving relationship with one woman, but other players seem to just
That's how it's
enjoy
supposed to
the
be,
higher
right?
life. Yeah, well, that's how I live. But my dad had different stories. But being a teenager, it's
Yeah, I mean,
different. Life back
I,
then
I
was
had a
different than
messed
it is
up
now.
I had a messed up early teenage years, more like, until yes, things got better in my life. Then I realized, okay, all these things are worthless. Let's look towards the better. But I guess in football, that culture has become like very hype, and then the fame gets onto you, the money and all that. And I guess that's a problem with a lot of Spurs players, the ex Spurs players, the current Spurs players as well, that they just don't care about football. It has come in there. We'll go into that. Had a better foot than Bale, as in I think he's talking about your dad, I suppose.
Yeah, he was a left footer as well. Actually, he was
Oh,
ambidextrous.
nice,
He could play with both feet. It was very, very good. Very good at swimming as well.
nice. I guess the Heel brothers would have inherited some of the genetics as well. Then in that
Well,
case,
Lee got the football side of things. He was a very good footballer, very quick. Think of like Aaron Lennon. That would have been Lee if he applied himself.
have you guys start a show on Total Aussie Spurs? I think you guys should start a show, the Brothers United, or
That's a good idea. That's a good
give,
idea.
give
But
get those cheeky names on Total Aussie Spurs, the shows. It will be interesting, guys.
we should do it.
Do you all have a brother who supports like another club by any chance?
Well, it is funny. Our oldest brother supports Arsenal.
Your oldest
So,
brother supports Arsenal. Yes, do a show with him for the North London Derby, or whenever you're North London Derby, or do like a. I don't know if you all know Bobby K. He does a show with his cousin called the Buzzing Cousin, and then he talks with his cousin about Arsenal, because his cousin is an Arsenal fan. Like that kind of stuff is quite cool. It's just that for me to get my brothers on for the Arsenal side of games is a bit tough. They are a bit YouTube shy. Big up, bro. I hope you a good thing that you're enjoying. Okay, let's get down to it, man. Before we go into any discussion, let's just have a small peek at that embarrassing interview, the summary. Big up to this friend of mine, that interview that Daniel Levy did at Cambridge. Jason, I think you would have watched that interview. Would you like to have just a glimpse of it? Because Bob Spur did a video recently. He just summarized the whole thing. Then, for those of them on the stream who haven't watched it, they can have a look at it. Like, what's going on with Daniel Levy? Like, does he even know what's happening in the club? When I watched that interview my thought was like this, or does he even care? Like, but let's have a look at it.
And we had this interest in Tottenham, and we decided to increase our shareholding. I had no intention at that point in time to be involved in the day-to-day running of the club. It was purely, at the time, an investment opportunity. And then I realised actually to really maximise the opportunity and have an influence over the success of the club, I really needed to get involved, and that's what happened. Well, we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with all us. We have about 750 staff in Tottenham. And we brought everyone together and we put up a big picture with lots of trophies in it. And it is about winning, but winning, depending on the moment in time you ask that question to various people, means different things. So when we first came into Tottenham, winning was making sure we stayed in the Premier League. And then as time goes on and we got more successful, it was about getting into the Europa League, getting into Champions League. And obviously the ultimate is to win the trophies. So, that is clearly what we're trying to do. It's easier said than done. Am I happy that we haven't won more than one trophy in the last 15 years? Absolutely not. But I also think that we've had some fantastic times. We've been in Champions League a number of times. And despite the fact that I feel sick that there's a club in North London that's a bit higher than us at this moment in time, if I look back over the last 5 years, we've also been above them. So, that's what happens. When you're building a club and you're building long-term value, I would say there's a number of ingredients. One is profitability. Some clubs are valued a lot of money that aren't profitable, so therefore revenue becomes important. Physical assets, success on the pitch. There's no one aspect. You really need them all to come together. Debt's not really a problem. Anyone that understands finance, provided you can match long-term income streams with long-term debt, and it's financed properly, it's not a problem. And the fact, our debt is 30. Basically, it's a 30-year mortgage at a very low interest rate. So it's not a problem.
No problem at all.
I'm not sure what an average Spurs fan is, but I'd hope they would perceive that I'm always acting in the best interest of the club. I think whenever you appoint a coach, you're always appointing them because you think they're going to make you win. You don't appoint them with the intention, it's only going to be for 1 year or 2 years. You hope it will be long term. All I'm making the observation is, in Europe, coaches are only appointed for 1 or 2 years, whereas in this country we're obsessed with, if someone gets appointed and only has a 2-year contract, how do you expect him to succeed if he's only got 2 years? I think when you look at a club, you have to decide where you are in the pecking order. So I accept that there may be certain clubs in Europe that are bigger than us. I have to.
Yeah. What do you make of it, Jason? And what do you guys make of it in the chat? Let me know. Like, in my opinion, that guy has said some really embarrassing stuff. Like, if you watch that interview, the way he treats the fans, like an average Spurs fan, the language that he used, what does he make of it? Like, is he ignoring how the fans feel like, or is he just trying to act so naive? Like, he doesn't know what an average Spurs fan think of him. Let me know, guys, what do you all think in the comments? In my opinion, he just doesn't care, and that's what he's saying. The other thing is, like, he has indirectly or directly made a lot of excuses. But Jason, let me know your thoughts on this.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I personally think he doesn't care. He has openly said his plan was to treat Tottenham as a business, not as a sporting kind of like to try and tee up the team. He's more about the business side of things. A couple of weeks ago, he mentioned about it was all about growing the business. It's all about growing finance. He's an accountant basically. So for him, money is key. And I understand moving the goalposts, because when he did come in, Tottenham were a mid-table team, hanging around the 17th, 16th spot. So I don't mind having short-term goals of progressing to the top 10, then top 6, and vice versa. But once we were in that Champions League spot with Pochettino, and for him to say, we definitely want to win, the way he's acted, actions speak louder than words. And the way we went 18 months without signing any new players. Poch was screaming out for refreshment of the club, of the team, and Levy didn't give it to him. For me, that just shouts out that he was happy to stay in top 4 to get the Champions League money. He didn't want the team to win. He doesn't care if we win. He's just trying to save face so the fans don't come for him, basically. And what he did at Cambridge was just reiterate that to everyone that basically business is key. It's not about the football. And all he wants to do is make Tottenham a brand, not a footballing club. He wants to make him a massive brand where we can expand into, the NFL, rugby. Obviously, we've already expanded into the likes of, Beyonce shows and all that sort of stuff. So it's literally he's just there to build his portfolio. And the mention of someone buying it, I don't think they'll sell. And if they do sell, it'll be where they still have to rent the stadium or something like that, where they can still create wealth from Tottenham. And as much as he's done good on the non-football falling side, building up the area around Tottenham, building the stadium, the facilities, if that's not progressing into the team, then there's no point him being chairman anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. But the other thing I wanted to ask is, do you think from his interview, in my opinion, I think he is here to stay long. Like, it looks like he has no intentions of selling the club anytime soon. Like, what do you think?
I don't think he will. Someone did mention that there's been rumors about someone, from Qatar trying to buy the club, and he flat out said that's not true. Like I said, I don't think they're going to sell. I think Tottenham's such a good business model that he's not going to sell. You could, unless it's a substantial amount of money, he's not going to sell. And the club's valued around $2 billion. They want double that to save the money they would make in the long run with if they don't sell. So, like you said, I just think he's not going to sell. He's going to stay. There's no need for them to sell. And as much as us fans can kick up a stink, he disregards it. I think he's just arrogant. He's ignorant to the average fan. He's only appeasing to the fans that can make him more money, sponsorship deals, and tourism. I myself would class myself as a tourist, and I will admit, when I came back to England at the start of this year, I didn't scramble for a ticket, but I was lucky enough to get a ticket for the Man City game, and I was in awe of the stadium. And that soon wore off the next week when I was sitting, in my cousin's lounge room watching us lose to Leicester and going, yeah, the stadium's great, but if the team's playing like that, then I would rather not go to the stadium and see us succeed than go and see the stadium or that sort of stuff. So, like you said, in that passage at Cambridge, I don't think he's going to sell anytime soon, and I think he's ignorant to the average fan. I just think his average fan is one that can line his pockets, not the fan that bleeds blue and white.
Yep, bleeds blue and white. I was just having a joke the other day, yesterday on Bob's stream. Like, the blue and white blood joke is not illogical. Everybody bleeds red, and they were like, "You're so shameless."
Are you sure you're not a closet Arsenal fan?
No, I'm not. I'm Spurs through and through.
That's cool.
I just like to make some of these jokes sometimes. I hate Arsenal more than anything else in this world. Qasim saying we are more likely we'll get investment from Middle East. Very unlikely, in my opinion, due to Levy's feelings towards Middle Easterns. I think you all know when the Saudis took over the Newcastle, he was the one who was most vocal about that investment and the Saudis coming in. So I am not too sure how willing Levy would be to sell a club to someone from Middle East. However, if I'm not against it, I would love to have someone from Middle East coming in. But Jason, let me know your thoughts.
Well, I think on that Saudi, I think you've got it right and wrong at the same time. I think he wasn't in fear of the Middle Eastern. I think it was more of if Middle Eastern countries or companies start investing in other teams, Tottenham will not make top four and he won't get the Champions League money. For me, it's more about the money aspect, not about the culture coming into the league. If every other team were, say, American, and he would still have the same problem. I don't think it's to do with where they're from. I just think it's the implications of us falling down the table and not getting that Champions League money or that European money that scares Levy, and that's why he's been the biggest advocate for the likes of Newcastle not getting taken over so early by the Saudis, and that's why he's been pushing to go to the Super League. to try and make sure that we can get that money without having to invest as much as we would now at the moment with the Premier League.
Yep, exactly. The Super League is that was another drama. I think we'll not discuss that at this point. But the other thing that Daniel Levy mentioned in his interview, which was about the average Spurs fan, as we were just discussing. Do you think do you think that as the chairman, as someone of his caliber, an average Spurs fan mentality is just nice for him at the moment. Like he is not feeling any pressure from the fan base to win things. Like our fan base is just maybe content with it to a certain extent. Like okay, even though sometimes that we do protests and all that, but I think as you know, Jason, if you've been watching the YouTube channels and all that, and people who are involved in the protests, the number of protesters are only like let's say 40, 50, like that. Uh, do you think that play a bigger role as well in terms of not putting any pressure on the management? Because the way Levy gave that interview, he doesn't seem like pressured at all in the current kind of situation he is in. Imagine, like, let's say if someone were to be defending their position or defending their justifying themselves, he doesn't even look like that in that position. He's just addressing some questions in a way with excuses. Like, what do you think of it? Like, has our fan base just gotten very used to this mediocre average fan mindset that Levy even can call them average fans? Let me know your thoughts.
That's a very it's a multifaceted question for me. I think the start of the way Levy thinks was when the Tottenham Hotspur Trust in January before the transfer window asked where the club sits at and how the club feels about the way they're going about this about the way they're managing the club, and they came out and said that they feel like they're doing a very good job. Now, in my eyes, that was all about the business side. And when it comes to the fan base, we're very much divided. There's Levy in, there's Levy out, there's Levy, I'm going to sit on the fence. It's kind of like how Arsenal went with the Arsenal fan
Levy
team.
on the other, there are some Levy on the other. They have different opinions about managers.
Yeah.
There's Stellini in, Stellini out, Paratici in, Paratici out, Scottman in, Scottman out. Like just look at the Spurs fan base.
That's the thing. It helps Levy because the fan base is so divided. And the thing is, I'm personally, there's so many different things that need to be changed. I'm not just Levy out. I'm not just Enoch out. I'm not just Conte wasn't the right manager. I'm more of there's so many problems. We need to change all of it. But the main problem for me is Levy. Levy has run this club as a business. Now he's done everything he needs to do, business side of things. What he needs to do for me, I don't mind him staying if he gets someone like Scottman who comes in and runs the football side, and all Levy does is just make sure that we're not running at a loss, and let someone who with a footballing brain come in and handle the transfers, handle negotiations, everything like that. But that's not going to happen because Levy himself has said that he wants to be involved. Now, with the protesting and stuff, I do believe in protesting. Unfortunately, being in Australia, we can't be there in person, and it's very hard to protest.
So you do believe or you don't believe?
I do believe believe that protesting it's worked for Man United, it worked for Arsenal, it worked for Liverpool. Just because it's Levy and he's probably the most stubborn, arrogant chairman in the league does not mean that something massive can change. It's just I also think other things need to happen as well. I don't think it's just protesting. I think it needs to be the fans need to get on the same. Same kind of mindset. Whether you're Levy in or Levy out, we need to accept that there needs to be a change, and we all need to realize what we all want as fans. Do we want to just be a good, attractive footballing team that just plays good football, and then every once in a while we go on a little cup run and don't make it, or do we actually want to win things? And for me, I think we need to tie it all into one. Come on to a level basis of we want to start winning trophies, but if it means it's going to take us longer, then that's fine. But if it doesn't take us longer, we can do it next year. Then why wouldn't we do it? It's a multi-level question, and it's very hard, and that's what I think is dividing the fan base because we all can agree on one or two things, but then there's a lot of things that we all disagree on. And I just think we just all need to put our agendas aside and put our our personalities aside and just try and get on the same wavelength, whether it's Levy in, Levy out. We need to leave all that behind it and work on just changing the club as a whole. We've gotten to a very good point where we are at now. Grumpy Grandpa mentions, the FFP rules are changing in the next 2 years. That will really benefit Tottenham. But as you said, at the end of it, Tottenham are so far behind already. Once these other clubs become financially fair play and they fall under that line, how do we catch up? And that's the problem that we need to address now, so that in 2 years' time we're not that far behind. We're not so far behind that we can't catch up.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Like, let's say if FFP rules change, it just doesn't mean that it will benefit Tottenham only, but it also means that it will benefit other clubs like Brighton, Aston Villa, the likes of Brentford, who are doing quite well as well, in my opinion, at the moment,
And
with
Arsenal.
their recruitment. And Arsenal, definitely. Arsenal, I mean, they've always been there, but lately they have now I think they are definitely above us. I'm talking the likes of certain clubs that are below us. If they are doing a proper recruitment, their focus is football, they are buying the right players, the ones that manager want and all that, then definitely they will benefit quite a lot from FFP rules. Because again, this is one thing that I love to emphasize on, and I always say that football, money cannot buy you success. Your footballing mindset as a club is the one that actually buys you success. Like, even if you invest into a team, and if you do poor investment, you are just lazy with the way you spend your money. You are just lazy with the decisions that you make in terms of overall as a whole as well. Like, I think we saw that interview that Posh did, that when he said that, yeah, when we ask for a washing machine, we get a hair dryer and things like that. And it's very true. I don't think he's talking about money there, but it's very true with the nature of recruitment that we have in Tottenham. Lately, we all know that our issue has been our center backs. Like Grumpy Grandpa just pointed out that, yeah, we still have Dyer and Davis there. We all know that our issues, our center back, our back line, our defense. And for the longest of time, I think we have only bought like one center back in last 3 years. Only Romero. Like, Langley is on loan at the moment. And that's the problem, in my opinion. Like, why do we not buy the right players? There's a lot of cheap options out there. You've got Fabian Schär, you have Sven Botman. Those players are doing well. Why not give them a try? Mark Guehi, like, these were players that we could have signed, and they are doing well in other clubs, like the lower table clubs at the moment. They are flourishing. But with us, I feel that we go for a lot of attacking options, like the way we got Richarlison. I think Richarlison was a little bit of an overspend as well, in my opinion. It has not worked out as well, and I said it before that. And then we got Danuma. Like, our front line, I don't think is an issue, but still, when I see that we are linked with a frontline player, it really boils my blood. Like, to me, it feels like that the frontline players are a good investment in a way. That when you sell them, you can sell them on a good price, because yes, it's all about scoring goals and people see that result and they have a lot in their back. Like, whereas defenders is only clean sheets, nobody paid that attention. Do you think that could be the issue as well with Tottenham, the way Levy buy players?
I just think it's also the management style, right? So we have a lot of good attacking players, but we also play very defensive. For me, it's like, we have a great attack, but we play five at the back. Now, I know they always say the best defense is a good attack, and the good attack is the best attack is a good defense. But you're right. We've bought Richarlison. Now, for me, I would have spent that 60 mil on looking at Bastoni, Botman, Gahey, all the players that you named, and I would have just had Troy Parrott play as backup, because for me, Richarlison wasn't even a winger replacement; he was a striker replacement. And I understand that Harry Kane, if he's fit, he's playing. He's not going to be benched. 9 times out of 10, he plays a full game, doesn't get rotated. So you're right. Richarlison was an overspend. We could have gotten a player. For me, probably too much. Watkins would have been too much, and he plays regularly at Aston Villa. But someone that wasn't playing regularly at a lower table team, we could have gotten for 20, 30 mil, not even. To back up Kane, or we could have played the likes of Troy Parrott or Dane Scarlett on the bench, bringing in the youth, and we could have spent that 60 mil towards a proper right wing back before Porro. We could have had a better centre back or a centre back pairing in the back with Romero. I would have personally gotten rid of everyone bar Romero in our centre backs. But you're right. The fact is that it's not always about money. Look at Leicester. They won the league with a team that was nowhere near as expensive as the likes of Chelsea, City, even us. We had a great team. We had we had Toby and Jan. We had Prime, Rose and Walker. We had Ericsson. Dele Alli was playing well, I think. Kane. Yeah. We had a great team. We had a better team than Leicester, but they won the league because they had the right manager with the right system, with the right players. And for me, it's a culmination. We can't just go and spend 200 mil. And as Carl's just mentioned, and Ndombele, Lo Celso, Reguilon, we have all these players out on loan that we spent big money on.
250 million worth loan is out there.
Yep. And I think 30 mil for Reguilon, I'm pretty sure. So it's 130 mil roughly with those three players. And Ndombele's never going to play for us. He's just lazy. Lo Celso seems to only play for Argentina. And Reguilon, even though I feel like Reguilon would have been a good asset this season for us, considering that we play a left wing back role. I don't know if he's going to be here next year. And it's just money spent up the wall that we could have had two quality centre backs. And I think with the centre backs that we had, if we replaced them with two good centre backs, we would be sitting third at least. The amount of goals we leaked this season because of weak defence and because of Lloris capitulating this season, the money spent is where we spend it is more important than how much we spend.
Yep. And I think your brother is saying should have kept Walker Peters. Yeah, I mean, this is another thing this is another issue that Levy had with a couple of years back, that all the good players he would just sell it to other teams like Bale, Modric, Kyle Walker, Walker Peters. Like, we should have kept these players, and that's where I feel like our focus is a lot more of investment. And I wouldn't be surprised, like, let's say we sign Kulu and then Kulu is gone to a team like Liverpool or United in 1 or 2 seasons. I won't be surprised, actually. And Carl Simpson said Reggie needs to be back in the squad with Udoji. I think that is a good left side. I agree. I kind of rate Reggie as well. But let me know your thoughts on Reggie. Actually, that's another topic that a lot of people don't go into, or maybe we avoid it because just because Conte and Reggie didn't work out well. What do you think of Reggie? Would he work well with another manager if he were to be a regular in our starting lineups, or even be back from loan? Like, because in my opinion, he's one of the only players that I will take him back from the loan players that we have, other than Udoji. But
I don't know why we loaned him out. I think he was miles above Cess. Cess has done nothing since he's come here. And Reggie would get in the box a lot more. He plays that left wing back role a lot more. He may not be as defensively good as someone like Davies in that position. However, going forward, he was always in the box. He has scored a couple of goals inside the box because he was always in there. And he runs up and down the left-hand side. And that's what we really need. And for me, Paratici is more of a winger anyway. That's why Son hasn't been playing well this season. I feel like if you just left Paratici at Inter and had Reggie, I think Son would have had a much better season. As you can see when Davies plays, I know Son scored a couple of goals the last couple of games with Paratici, but I still rate Reggie. I've always liked Reguilon. Maybe a bit, he needs to improve defensively, but going forward, he's always been good. He's quick, and he gets in the box. He's not scared to shoot. And with Udoji, he's probably one of the best left wing backs in Europe with stats wise. If we had those two on the left, and then maybe got someone to replace the right hand side, or if Royal continues his form once he comes back from injury, we have a good set of wing backs. And then once we get a couple of centre backs and a goalkeeper, I feel like that will really fix our leaky defence, and then we'll be able to go forward more. And the likes of Kane, Son, Kulu, Richarlison will be able to utilise the extra men on the wings.
Do you know what? Like, actually, Reggie and Porro, that would be a good Spanish understanding as well in terms of our wings. Because wing to wing crossing is another thing that Conte used to do. Wing to wing balls, just play between the wings. If they would have been at our wing under Conte, I think that would have worked well for us, in my opinion. Like, they are not the tallest of the athletes as well. They are decent in the way they go forward. Like I think between Reggie and Poro, I think Reggie is a better defender as well.
Yeah.
Uh, the way he makes his run behinds and all that, he's more aware. But again, like on the right side, I'm not so concerned due to Romero being there. But at the left side, I think is the one where you have Davies and the likes of Dyer as well. Sometimes he gets exposed there, but again, it's a whole lots of drama there. But moving on from the Daniel Levy interview, we just heard the news of Paratici getting more like his appeal was rejected. Appeal was given, it was rejected, and then he resigned. What do you make of Paratici, Jason? Like, were you do you think that he did any good for us? Do you think he was the so-called Don Paratici, as some YouTube channels like to hype him up, saying he was the Don and all that? He did wonders. The Don is cooking. That's another narrative that was going on in a lot of channels. The Don is cooking, and he's gonna do wonders. Like he'll take us from here to there. Where do you stand?
Look, I think that the Don was more of a reaction to how he signed 7 players in the first month of the transfer window this season. Never seen before for Tottenham, really. And I think that's where the name came from. However, what he did after it was a shambles.
No, it was there before that, by the way.
Was it before that? Oh, well, for me,
Yeah, it was
that's
there
when
before
I felt like he was cooking. I don't think he was cooking before. He got lucky that he knew Bentancur and Kulu from Juventus. So if that's the reason they're calling him the Don, then, I mean, it's kind of like with Ten Hag when he went to United and he was scouting, the likes of Anthony, Timber. He knew the players that were there, so he knew what he had. He was cooking for 5 minutes, I'd say. For me, he hasn't done enough. The players that he's brought in,
Big up, grumpy grandpa.
you're right. Yeah, like I said, he was cooking for 5 minutes and that's it. He turned the heat off and just left it on the stove and just walked away. You could, like we said before, the 3 players that he really brought in that did anything was, well, you can say 4 if you add Forster, was Kulu, Romero, and Bentancur. Perisic hasn't been great this season. The likes of Basuma hasn't been great this season, but I also think that's more of a formation, stylistic reason why he hasn't played well. Royal hasn't been that great until recently, until before he got injured. So I don't think he was as good as what everyone made him out to be. I don't think it was a Don, but like Lee just said, he made a couple of good signings, but there was nothing that really set it apart from other people. The likes of Casido, Brighton signed Casido. Brighton, have Basuma. They've got Trossard. Trossard was one that we should have gotten. Son wasn't playing well. Trossard was there for 20. They got him for 20 mil, I think, with a 7 mil add-on. We could have gotten Trossard and had an extra backup to Son. That would have taken out Danjuma, and we would have had a much stronger going forward. But with all the stuff going on with Paratici at the moment, I don't know if the deal was there. But for me, he did some good, but it wasn't that great.
Yep. I agree with you. Like, in my opinion, like the only 3 decent signings that I was discussing with you as well earlier is Romero, Bentancur, and Kulusevski. But Bentancur and Kulusevski, we all know it was just that clearing of the books and all that. By the way, guys, just want to give a big shout out to Jason and his team at Total Aussie Spurs. Is their channel link in the chat there? So if you haven't already, make sure you guys click on this link as well and go over there. Give them a like on their videos. Give them a subscribe. I think they are on their way to 100 subs as well. And I'm on my way to 200 subs as well. So if you're watching me here, give a like and subscribe to this video, and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. It's, I think, 10 of you watching this right now. So if you can, go over and give these guys some subscribe, show them some love, and we will discuss about that later as well. I think what time they go live. But DJ is saying definitely need 2 or 3 CBs and a goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. I'm going to come back to the goalkeeper part because I'm a bit disappointed that we are still thinking that Lloris can stay long term after his injury. I'm going to come on to that now. Since you brought up, let's just go into it. Hugo Lloris has been with us now for how many years, Jason? You would know better.
I think he came in 20. It's not 2012. No, he can't. He hasn't got a testimonial yet, so I'm gonna actually I can't remember how long he's been with us, but I'm pretty sure he came with us 2012. 2012. Yeah, so I was right. So he's been with us for over 11 years, I think.
Yeah, around there. I think 2012. So it's already 10 over years. I think this year he would be giving the testimonial.
Testimonial, yeah.
And I guess Hugo has passed his prime. I think we all know, and we have had this discussion before. Should Hugo have been sold a couple of years ago? What do you think?
Yeah, I think after the Champions League final, I think that was when he started to decline. Look, he's a great shot stopper, but what he was great at was also sweeper keeping. He was very quick off his line. He would make the right decision. His distribution's always been horrible. For me, I know that this day and age, the modern goalkeepers moving into distribution. The likes of Edison, Allison, even the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, they're very good with the speed as well. But he's always been a great shot stopper, and Lloris on his day is one of the best in the world at stopping a shot. But his distribution's been very poor, and I feel like it's been 2 or 3 seasons now where we should have replaced him. And I'm going to say it. I know Pope is a red card waiting to happen half the time because he is very aggressive. But Pope at 11 million last year should have been someone that we went for straight away. The fact that Newcastle got him when he was available is disgusting. He's one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the league for me, Nick Pope. And it would have 11 mil with an English player would have been a steal. I think it's time for Lloris to go. I don't even know how he's still in goal. I feel like Forster's played much better this season. I feel like it's a slap in the face for Forster to be benched after he's done so well. Like I said before, a couple of times he's lost. He's let a goal in at the near post, but because he's such a big guy, he's a bit slower than Lloris. But apart from that, his distribution's better. He commands the box better, and I feel like his decision making is a bit better than Lloris. And I just think it's time for Lloris to move on.
Yeah, I agree with you completely there. And I was kind of happy in a way, not happy that Lloris got injured. By the way, don't get me wrong here. But I was kind of like, let's say if Lloris were to go from this injury, just ease into his career, like just go on a break, and maybe if he wants to play, like start playing in something like MLS and all that, and his career on a good note. And we should have gone for a goalkeeper. But right now, Lloris is back into the squad. And again, the goalkeeper discussions and all have disappeared. Like literally when Lloris was injured, we were looking at David Raya. We used to hear rumors of our scouts going in and scouting some goalkeepers in some other leagues. At one point, we were even linked with Livakovic. The AC Milan goalkeeper was linked with us as well during the Champions League. I don't know whether it was really a link or whether it was just because we played the Champions League and it was just rumors. So what do you make of it? Like, do you think Lloris now might stay for another season since now he's in a way fit?
I really hope he doesn't. There was rumors that he wanted to go back to France to finish his career. I was begging for him to catch the flight home. If we keep him, then it's just the intention of the club trying to save money and not progress because. DJ's just mentioned 3 goalkeepers that are much better than Lloris this season. For me, I'd pick David Raya. I think he's a great. He's about 26, so he's starting to come into his prime. Spanish, good with his feet. Sanchez has always been good at Brighton, and Henderson. I think he should have actually taken over De Gea at United. I think they missed a beat. If anybody saw the game the other night against Sevilla, I feel like. De Gea is now past it, but if I think they will give him another contract. I think Levy will give him a sentimental testimonial, keep him for too long, and next season it'll be like kind of how Wenger was at Arsenal. It'll be he stayed there so long, he tarnishes what he did for us, and everyone knows he's now past that. He's not the goalkeeper that we used to have 3 or 4 years ago, where he was saving games for us. He was winning games by being a great shot stopper. Now he makes so many mistakes. He's very inconsistent with his performances. It's just, I think it's time for him to move on. But in saying that, I still think he'll be here next year.
Oh dear Lord, save us! I hope we sign a backup goalkeeper other than Foster. But I think it would have made more sense to keep Foster and let Hugo go.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, Foster is a better shot stopper than Hugo. From what I've seen lately of him, it's just that the mistakes that Foster made are purely like the defensive errors from the back line. I think Foster looked better in my opinion in some of the games that he played. More of a statue now. Yes, man. Seriously. Uh, let's hope we don't give Hugo a statue outside the stadium.
He
I
probably
heard
will.
that. By the way, does anybody know that? I heard that Daniel Levy mentioned that he would be making some statues as well. Is it true? Outside
I
the
think
stadium?
someone brought the question up of Harry Kane and winning trophies,
Yeah.
and Levy said that he will be it's more important to be a club legend than to win trophies, and that he hopes that Harry Kane will have a statue outside the stadium. Now, for me, I think Kane deserves one already. With what he's done for the club. However, I think we need to be very selective. I don't think there's many people. If you're going to put Harry Kane out there, you put the likes of Glenn Hoddle, Jimmy Greaves. I know that Gascoigne was a bit more of not a journeyman, but he played for a few teams. But those are the caliber of players. I don't want to see a Hugo Lloris, even though he's been a great goalkeeper for so many years. For me, I think he's just not up there with the legends of the game. For us,
Yeah.
anyway, for Tottenham.
So we won't see. By the way, Jason, since we were on the statue topic as well, and then you mentioned about stadium, I want to ask you. You've been to a stadium. I don't know if you've been to the old White Hart Lane as well. I think you
I've
would
been to
have.
both. I've been to both. Yeah.
You've been to both. When you go into the stadium, like, what's the general feel that you get? And I think this is something that I love to discuss with Stel and Iggy and those guys. A lot of times that what I hear from them is that the stadium is a very corporate. It has a very corporate feel now. No longer you feel the vibes of fans. There's no longer that prestige, that atmosphere, that winning atmosphere that you can have in a fortress. What do you think in terms of building the stadium has Levy gotten wrong? Has he overlooked the importance of a fan base, and has he emphasized more on the corporate culture, as what's going on right now in the world as well, that we are becoming a bit more corporate? We kind of downplay the community side of things at the moment, and that's what has divided the fan base a lot more even. I'll give you an example. Like, somebody was telling me that, I think it was Iggy who was mentioning on one of the streams on Tottenham Away, or was he with me on this channel? I can't remember. He was sharing with us that when he was one day at a game, and there was a kid who just bought a flag, a Brazilian flag from outside. Like those. There are some outside vendors as well. They sell certain flags with certain players' picture and all that. And it was a Richarlison one. He bought that flag from the shop, but it was not the Spurs shop. It was like those outside vendors. He bought it, and he wanted to bring it inside the stadium. And the security said, "No, you can't bring in that inside the stadium just because it has not been bought from the Spurs shop." Like, a 12-year-old kid wants to bring something like that into the stadium. Perhaps that's what he could afford to bring in to cheer Richarlison, maybe. Although I'm not a Richarlison fan, but if he wanted to cheer Richarlison or the Brazilians in the team, what's wrong with that? Seriously, like, do you think that the fan base value, the fan base sentiments, even, or the fan culture, is slowly dying from the English football on a longer spectrum, but firstly in Spurs?
I just think they, like I said, they're looking at the upper class level of people. They're not looking at the working class anymore. And the thing is, though, is when I went, it was very much. I will class myself as a tourist, right? I don't live in London, even though I'm
No,
from
by the
there.
way, just to clarify, it was not Dan THFC. Dan THFC somehow managed to sneak in his Brazilian flag inside. It was not Dan THFC. He also got the flag, but he managed to sneak it in. This some other kid. I think he and Dan THFC is not 12; he's 14. Yeah.
No, well, lucky him. But for me, it's they're targeting the upperclassmen. I went there. I felt like it was too corporate, and I'm a tourist. I would class myself as, my uncle and cousin are season ticket holders. They feel the same way. It feels like, and the thing is we have 130,000 plus people waiting to get season tickets.
Exactly.
But it feels like it's very easy for corporate people to get tickets, and a lot of people that want to go to games that are working class, that have been supporting Tottenham their whole lives, that live around the corner or live in the area, aren't getting tickets or aren't going to games anymore because they feel like they're not welcome. And it's all well and good. The stadium's gorgeous, the bars are great. They fill beers from the bottom. But for me,
Yeah.
I actually 3 years ago, I was on holiday in Europe with my partner, now fiance, and we went to Burnley to watch Tottenham play Burnley. Now, if anybody knows what Burnley is, it's not the greatest place to go, even when you're watching football. And for me, I had a better fan experience and atmosphere experience from a Burnley ground with away fans, with a traditional stadium, as opposed to going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it was all nice and fancy, but for me, it didn't feel as traditional as it was when I went to White Hart Lane or when I went to Burnley. And I think they've got that wrong. They've introduced an upper class, but they've kind of made the working class man, who is the lifeblood of every club, feel like they're not welcome in their own home stadium. And that was just my opinion. It might be different for other people. But for me, I felt like I was an outsider because I am from, I prefer the traditional way of going to football games, going to the pub before and after, all that sort of stuff. Doesn't matter if you're drinking branded beer or non-branded beer. It's all about the experience, the atmosphere. And the atmosphere was great, don't get me wrong. Obviously, because we beat Man City when I went at the start of the year. But I felt like the atmosphere at Burnley away was much more heartfelt. And I do think they've missed a beat here with how corporate they're going. They could have just built a nice stadium and then made the working class man feel like they were important. And the season tickets, the prices were actually brought up in the Cambridge interview, and Levy's justification was, oh well, it's we just have to charge it because we need to make the money back or something along those lines. And it was more of a, well, we don't win anything, we don't compete for anything. What are the fans paying for? The fancy beer. I guarantee the fans would rather not have fancy beer and win trophies or pay less for their ticket. So they've just lost a beat. They've made it too corporate, and it's going to be detrimental to the future of Spurs generations of supporters because who wants to support a club that thinks they're superficial when they're really not? We don't win anything, and we charge through the roof for fans to come and watch, as most people would say, absolute dross this season.
Exactly. I mean, you brought up a good point. Like, let's say now the way a youngster is treated, as the example I made, and in many cultures, I think that if you want to build something for a future, you want to last on it. You invest into your youth. You sow some values, some culture into your next generation. If you want that culture to live in it, and if we are treating our next generation of fans as such, that we have the corporate standards applied to them when it's just a 12-year-old kid, like how would that kid feel? Like, man, come on, man, I just wanted to bring in a flag to the stadium. And kids sometimes they can change their choices as well. That person might be like, I might as well go and support Arsenal, they let me bring in flags inside at least. Or I might as well go and support Chelsea. They treat me better than the guards at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Their stadium may not be that great, but I am valued there. I have a value, like I have a voice there in a way. The atmosphere there is better. That's what kids, youth, and all of them feed on. And then you brought up a good point as well, that if you're not winning anything, why would somebody want to support that club? Like, you look at all the big clubs, when did they start gaining their fan base? Chelsea, when they won the Champions League under Mourinho, that was the time where they started getting more younger fans, and the culture really went into it. Liverpool, same. That AC Milan win, I think that they had the Champions League win, when they went up on a big as well. Like, in our club, if we are not winning anything, we are gonna lose the fan base, and the older batch of fan base may not be there for forever. And like the likes of rabbis, the likes of all the people who are leading all those movements. We need younger models as well, and that's not gonna come, I think, if we are continuing in this corporate mindset. And the other one is that our season ticket prices, I think the highest one in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the highest at least.
No, they're
I
the
haven't
highest.
done the maths. It is the highest, right?
Pretty sure it's either us or Arsenal are the highest, but we're the top two in Europe. We paid the most.
We pay the most for the season ticket prices as well, and I think our normal ticket prices too are quite expensive.
Yeah.
And then I was told that by another friend that his mom, they basically have kosher food. I won't mention the name, but I think some of you know who I'm talking about. He's from a Jewish family, so the mom actually prefers kosher food, and this is the treatment now of the elderlies as well that really disappointed me. That the mom, they don't sell kosher food outside Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First of all, there are no kosher stalls there. If somebody has to bring in a bagel, they have to sneak in somehow very nicely, just so that they can eat there. Otherwise, that person cannot have their lunch there. And I think somehow how the things can get in the queues and all that. People need to queue up for very long, and you are there for the afternoon games and all that. Your lunchtime is there, so and Jews are like somehow a respected community in Tottenham Hotspur as well, and they treat them like that. Elderlies as well. Like, if somebody were to treat my mom like that in a stadium, why would I want to spend into it? Seriously. But I guess that's what our love for Spurs is, and it has become really very corporate. I don't know what was your experience there like, but you pretty much described it as well. But it's not good for the future of the football club. Like what Daniel Levy seems to be like investing into business. It's all about PR and all that, but in the end, it's just not good enough.
No, not for future generations. And like I said, it's they're going there. The reason why they will get younger fans is because it looks nice, but they'll lose that the heart and soul of like the older generations of supporting Tottenham back in the 90s when we were horrible, but we still support Tottenham because we played good football or we won a cup here and there. We don't have that. And the thing is the history of Tottenham, as Chiellini came out and said, we don't have much history in the last 20, 25 years.
Exactly.
We need to develop some form of history to be able to hold on to the future generations to want to support Spurs. And what will happen is it will become a global business for Levy, but he will lose the heart and soul of the club. And I personally think he's moving in towards Tottenham is not a team, it's a brand. And it'll be, there'll be a Tottenham rugby team, there'll be a Tottenham NFL team, and it won't be just Tottenham Hotspur. Because,
Tottenham Olympics team.
Yeah, it will be. As they always say, that you got United, you got the cities, you got the football clubs, but there's only one Hotspur. That is soon going to change because there'll be Hotspurs in different leagues, and it's going to hurt the club in the future. And I don't think they see that. They just see the dollar signs or the pound signs. They don't see the heart and blood of the club falling apart. And that's how I felt when I was there. I don't know. I know that's how some of my family feel. My cousin gave up his ticket to go to Bournemouth to watch Bournemouth beat us on the weekend. And he just said, I just knew we were going to lose and I'd rather sit at home with my family and actually feel like I'm watching a proper game with people that are in the same mindset than go to a stadium where half the people there are only there because they got a free ticket or They want to see
Or
the
they're
stadium.
tourists just enjoying their.
Yeah, pretty much.
The only thing we have is the UCL final, but that's not a trophy league. Like,
It's not, but that's the thing. That's the only thing we have in the last 20 years that we can say, we've been to about 3 or 4. I know, probably been to about a few more finals. But the UCL final is the biggest final we've been in the last 25
were
years.
you there for the UCL final?
No. I actually watched that with my brothers. Four or five of us are Tottenham fans in the middle of a sea of Liverpool fans. Was one of the worst mornings I've ever had. Quite poor. I actually thought we could win that as well.
But the Ajax game would have been great for you guys if you watched it together.
Well, I was watching it at home. I was on night shift, so the game was at 6 a.m. in the morning for me. So I was cheering, losing my shit in the mornings.
By the way, guys, feel for these fans. Daniel Levy, if you're listening, feel for these fans. They wake up 6 in the morning. People like me wake up sometimes 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning to watch games. Please do something. It's not the. Please give us something, guys. We deserve more than that. Like, we love the club. Please honor us a bit.
Well, that's why I feel like international fans are more important than what, I should say the local fans think. So I've experienced both local and international fans. And my thing is that the best way to get at Levy, to get at the ENIC, and the best way to move this club forward is to kind of utilize the international fan base. Because, the likes of yourself and me, like tonight, the game is on at 11 p.m. tonight against Newcastle for me.
Yep.
So the likes of Leah and the guys who have to work
9.
tomorrow can't watch it. There's been times where we've been waking up at 3:30 in the morning, watching the game, going straight to work and working all day. There's been times where it's at midnight and we have to stay up all night, go to work the next day. I think you'll find more fans, international, will be more honest about how they feel about the club, and they'll be more likely to join a movement like Levy Out or, change for Spurs or anything like that. And I think we as a fan base need to come together, especially internationally, because I know they have this stigma of, you don't go to games, you're not as much of a fan as I am because you live overseas. But there are some fans like yourself, like me, who, like, if I could get on a flight tomorrow and be at Tottenham and go into a protest about anything, I'd do it because I love the club that much.
Yeah, but
so I feel I need to utilize international fans more than what they do, and that's just.
I totally agree. I totally agree, and I'm not afraid of saying that up on a stream. In my opinion, a lot of the international Spurs YouTubers, they make much more sense than the local ones. They are much more. Their opinions, even their footballing opinions, they make much more sense. Like I'm talking to you, actually, I can guaranteely say you are much more sensible than a lot of UK fans that I have encountered. There's this problem, by the way, guys, for nothing personal with any of the UK fans, but sometimes I feel like they have this thing that they feel that they know better about Premier League and football just because they are from UK. It's not true, guys.
Well, I class myself as international fan, but I'm from the UK, and look, there is a lot of people that are knowledgeable. There's a lot of people that aren't. It's give and take for both sides. There is a lot of local fans that are very, very, very smart about football and they know a lot, and there's a lot of international fans that are just the same. And then there's a lot of international fans that don't know what they're talking about, and just local. It's what we've got to do is distinguish that everyone has an opinion, everyone has a right to an opinion, and I just feel like if we incorporated international fans like myself more into the discussion, we can actually make more of a change at the club.
Exactly. I think we can. Like, as international fans, I think we see things from a very wider perspective. Like, I don't know how UK fans see those things. Maybe someone like you who stays in Australia have good links in UK as well. You see the end much better, like your relatives there and all that. Like, I think for us, I was just having a chat the other day with some American fans and some of the Canadian ones. Like for UK fans, I think Sky Sports, you get like all the channels which actually broadcast Premier League, for instance. For people like me, actually, let's say in Malaysia, we have this thing called Astro Supersport. I just cannot rely on Astro alone for all the games. If I want to watch all the Tottenham games, 1 week, Astro might be broadcasting the Tottenham game, and next week, if let's say there are too many games going on, it may not be there. So I have to subscribe to like 3-4 different subscriptions in order to watch the Tottenham games. Some of them are quite late at night, but these are some of the general struggles of an international Spurs fan, myself, and I don't know about Australia. Like, do you guys have to subscribe to quite a
Yeah,
lot of
we
these?
do. We have Optus Sport, which is just for the football, just for the Premier League. We have Stan, which is for the Champions League, Europa League Conference. We have Paramount Plus, which is for
Exactly.
FA Cup. And then if we want to watch the League Cup, actually, I think the League Cup, it could be like KO Sports. Like we have to have at least four, um, one for each competition, pretty much. And that's the problem is, we pay a lot of money to watch these kind of games, and like Optus Sport, it's only one device. So if I pay for it, which is like $25 a month just to watch the Premier League games, Lee, for instance, couldn't use it. No one else can use it. It's not like Netflix where you can have multiple devices. So we pay a lot of money just to watch Tottenham. We pay extra on certain stuff to keep. And like Grumpy Grandpa, like that's ridiculous. You pay
Yeah,
$100 a month to watch all the matches.
exactly.
That's insane.
$100 a month to watch all the matches. And I think in those countries, like, I don't know, the Asian countries, you can do some dodgy stuff as well, like those illegal streams and all that. Doing that is easier in Asian countries, I would say. Although now in Malaysia is also quite tough. They're making the laws a bit strict. But I think in Australia, US, if I'm not mistaken, if you're caught using illegal streams quite regularly, your broadband is kind of at risk as well, right?
Yeah,
Getting down.
yeah. You can actually be fined, and if you do it like to an extent, you can actually be arrested. In Australia, I used to, not illegally, but used to do the stuff like streaming and like watch the streams. But now it's even now it's too hard to find those kind of streams in Australia. You have to go legit. You can't find good quality streams these days. It's and I pay, I'd say 50, 60 Australian dollars a month just to watch us.
That's crazy amount of money. Like 50, 60 Aussie dollar would be about 180 to 200 Malaysian ringgit. I think that's like you can buy 1 month of groceries for one person or two people family easily with
Yeah.
that much. Yeah, that's how
Yeah,
expensive
it's
it is.
insane.
Like, I think I pay about yeah, but the thing about me is I also, if like let's say I have to watch certain games, I also have to pay for VPN because certain services that I've subscribed, they are not available in Malaysia like just openly because the official broadcaster is still Astro. So if I need to watch some others, I need to subscribe to VPN to watch that as well on top of the other subscriptions that I pay for, which is even more crazy for me. But these are the sufferings of international fans, and I think some of you who don't know, when I started Step Up Spurs, I wanted to gather some international fans and have these kind of discussions as well. And I'm glad that today I'm having this discussion with Jason because I think I've hardly ever had a heart-to-heart conversation about international fan struggles on Step Up Spurs before. But that was the whole point of it, like fans from all across the globe coming and sharing their experience of Tottenham, and we can listen a bit about the experiences that local fans have as well, like with the stadium and stuff like that. Because again, fans are an important part of the club as well. Although sometimes I would say fans are also the problem of the club. When you all don't take responsibility, don't go for the protests, that's where you are a problem. But in any club, in football club, I think fans have to be the main uh not the main attention of things. You should be the one that's getting prioritized, and that's getting the honor that you deserve
Yep.
for just being there on weekends for the games, just watching the games, just supporting your club. You all deserve that, guys, seriously. So voice out, like make your voices heard to the club. Go on Twitter, go whatever you can, come on the channels, share your thoughts. Like, we need to unite as a fan base, I think, to get this ownership out.
Yeah. And that's what I think is helping Levy at the moment, is the fact that the fan base is so scattered, and every discussion that I've been involved in or I've seen, if someone has a differing opinion from the main consensus, it's very much we'll jump on that guy and say that he's wrong, And for me, I think everything needs to go. I think we need to protest. I think we need to do petitions and all that sort of stuff. But I also think that if you don't want to protest, that's okay. But everyone can do something in some way. It doesn't have to be
Exactly.
just protesting. And that's where I think it's lost in translation with a lot of our fans is if one person wants to protest, then the other person doesn't want to do it, then that's fine. It's just kind of like, I see it kind of like religion. You may believe in one religion, I may not believe it, but I'm big enough to respect what you believe in, and it should be like that. But there is people that are very passionate and they want everyone to support what they want to do. And I think that's where it's lost is someone so passionate about something that other fans go, oh, well, you're trying to pressure me. No, that's not what I think. Just support them. Give it, share their stuff. You don't have to go to protests. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. But if we all just support each other on trying to change the club, that's all we really want is for Tottenham to succeed. And whether it's Levy out or Enoch out or, manager out or Dyer out, like we have to support each other as a fan base.
Tea lady out, even tea lady out, just tell the tea is not good enough. The beer man out, just tell beer not good enough. But yeah, I wanted to ask you now. Newcastle game is upcoming. I don't know if you guys watched the show that I did earlier in the week with Steve. What are your general thoughts of the Newcastle game, Jason? Let me know.
Well, we're going away to St James, so I can't see us winning. The way we're playing at the moment, it's we score a goal and then seem to be like, oh, that's it, game done. Kind of like how Mourinho used to do, where we defend a 1-0. We seem to score a goal, and then we capitulate and we turn to shit. And unfortunately, I can't see us going to Newcastle and winning. At best, I can see a draw. Newcastle have been a bit up and down this season, but I think their squad's much more in tune with Eddie Howe's vision. I think that on the day they will turn up, and I can't trust our system, but I also can't trust our players to perform. The thing is, though, is we always perform when we're not pressured. Last week we were pressured. Newcastle dropped points. We could have went fourth.
Yep.
Or could have joined points with them. We failed. This week, if we probably beat Newcastle because there's no pressure and they're still 6 points ahead of us. So, it's for me, it's not going to be a good time at Newcastle. We did a preview this week about it, and I think my opinion was we're going to fail there.
Do you think we'll see a draw in this game, like what DJ is saying?
Yeah, I think it'll be if it's going to be a draw, it'll be like a 2-2 draw. Or I think we'll get ahead. We might even be like 1 or 2 ahead, and then they'll come back because we seem to just not be able to see out games at the moment. And and so in saying that, I'm actually worried about Villa. Like, if we lose this game and Villa keep going on the way they're going, we could drop down to 6th. And I don't know if anybody's watched our stuff, but I'm very much I don't want to make top 4. And it's not because I don't want the club to be successful. It's because I feel like that's what Levy wants, and the best way to hit Levy is his pocket. So if we don't make the top 4, it's going to probably entice him to put money into the team to get us back in top 4. But I want to see us in the Champions League too. So and that's the thing. Newcastle are in the same boat. They want to make the Champions League. So it's a big game. It probably will. If we lose this game, I think our top 4 hopes are gone, unless United and Newcastle capitulate for the rest of the season. But I think DJ's right. I think it will be a draw or a win for Newcastle.
Not sure where this prediction is coming from, but I see a 2-1 win for us. I guess it's coming from your love for Tottenham.
Yeah. I've been doing that all season. I did it against Bournemouth. I thought we beat them 2-0, 3-0, and we lost 3-2. We drew. So we drew. Yeah, we drew.
Yeah, man. Really, it's like there's this friend of mine in Malaysia. He always say that whenever the odds are against us, somehow we manage to win that game. He has a bit of a betting conspiracy behind it. He shares with me. I'll share with you in the back room. I can't say that on a stream because he has some real conspiracies. He confirmed with some people. I'll let you know later on in the back room. I do see a 2-2 draw for us. From what DJ is saying. In my opinion, Newcastle might be a little bit shaky as well. They have a tendency to not perform that well when they are under pressure as well. And somehow we perform better under pressure, but still I guess that they have a better team overall. The way they click together, so it's gonna be a draw in my opinion, given the best result that can come out. Lee, I'm being optimistic, but we will win 1-0. can, but Lee, don't you think Isaac has been playing well for Newcastle since he has come on? Like Jason, what are your thoughts on Alexander Isaac?
I think he's a good little player. I know that when he was in his youth, they were calling him the next Ibrahimovic because he was from Sweden.
Yeah.
He's a good striker. He's quick. He's strong. He's tall. 60 mil,
Fast.
maybe a bit too much. Yeah, he's very, very quick. I do think he'll have a field day if he's up against Langley or Dyer or Davies. I think
Langley is injured. He's going to be up against Sanchez, Dyer, and Romero.
Well, Davies is back, isn't he, this week?
Is it?
He might be. He might be on the bench, but it'll probably be Davinson. And as much as Davinson's quick, we all saw this season how bad. Yeah,
like that guy. I don't know. Like I don't know how people. Some people say that Davinson Sanchez is a wonderful defender. Like there's another guy a couple of months ago. He came on a stream and he was having an argument with me that Davinson Sanchez is so good. He used to be so good with Ajax and all that, and he's like a very good defender. We're just not giving him the chances. But whenever he has gotten the chance, he has not performed, in my opinion.
Well, look, he did have that 9-game run where we didn't concede a goal when he was playing. I mean, you can take with it. Okay, Davies is not available.
Yeah, he's not available.
I checked the injury list yesterday, and it said that he might be. But if Sanchez is playing, look, I support any player that puts on the shirt. Right? I don't think Sanchez has done enough to warrant.
Okay, let's take this comment off because Davinson is not good for future. Otherwise, I'll discuss this comment later. I think he's talking about Isaac. This comment from your brother, because we're on the Davinson Sanchez topic.
Yeah. No,
people would think I'm talking about Davinson Sanchez being a good player, but costs a bit too much, and he's got a great future. No, he's old. He doesn't have a good future. We're talking about Isaac.
Yeah, he's talking about Isaac. 60 mil for Isaac. I think that's a bit too much for him, but he is a good little player. But
no, I would have paid 60 mil for Isaac over Richarlison for a striker.
I would too. I think that Isaac has a much better future. It will be a much better striker. And, he's proved it this season for Newcastle. But looking at what DJ said, Sanchez has had plenty of time. And he's just, for me, he's not. For me, I'd rather keep Davies over Tanganga, Sanchez, and Dyer. The reason why I say Tanganga is because I just feel like he's just not the defender that we need. I don't think he's going to be good enough. Davies is Mr. Consistent for me, but he's consistently average, not consistently good or bad. But he's the better of 4 or 5 evils. So I think the only defender we should keep is Romero. But if Sanchez is playing at the back and Isaac is one-on-one with him, Isaac's going to win every time.
Exactly. No, I think Romero can keep him. But
Romero's the only one that can, stop him for me.
Yeah. I think that in my opinion, Sanchez is the worst defender we have currently in this team right now, with the current form and the current recent performances. Even worse than Dyer.
I think you're right, and I think the last game Tanganga played was against AC, and I think he was tasked with dealing with Leao, and I think he did fairly well, Rafael. I think he was left out to dry by Langley, and I think Romero was in the middle of that game. So for me, you're right. I think Sanchez is the worst defender we have. Langley and Davies are kind of on the same level for me. And then Tanganga is probably on the same level as them. And Dyer. I think Romero is the only defender that we have that's half decent. However, he does have his odd game where he likes to be a bit rash and aggressive. But if Isaac is on Dyer or on Langley, I think that he's going to have a field day. And
Isaac is a great player. Like I watched.
And he's young. He's 22, isn't he?
Young, 21 or 22. Like he's very young. Great prospect for the future as well. Like if somebody call him the next Zlatan, I would agree. And the thing is that he has played for teams previously that didn't have like that what you call it, that goal creating opportunities or the odds, and now he's in a team that has some proper midfielders who are backing him. The likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Miguel Almiron, they are great assisters, and I think he's going to flourish with them in the years to come.
Yep, I think he's for the future, and he's the first buy of many they're going to have where they're going to really fit the system and push Newcastle forward to really compete for, I wouldn't say title yet, but I'd say give it 2 or 3 more seasons, and I think they'll be up there with the likes of City. Chelsea will come good with all the money they're spending before the FFP comes around. So, I think it's their first acquisition, apart from Bruno, that'll really push Newcastle to challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know what's gonna be the competition like. Like, I think the other person that I'm kind of worried about is Kieran Trippier and his balls into the boxes.
Yep.
What do you make of it?
I don't know why we got rid of Trippier. I know the fans wanted him out because he had one bad season after England flopped against Croatia.
Yep.
But Kieran Trippier's been one of the, if not the best right back in the league this season. Stats don't lie. And I feel like we're lacking a lot of crossing quality. I feel like Royal's been horrible this season. Porro's better, but Porro hasn't really put much crosses in since he's come in. And I feel like if we had Trippier on that right side defensively, he's probably better than all the right wing backs that we have. And going forward, he might not have the pace, but he definitely has the quality of ball, and his dead ball specialist is a lot better than Kane or Son. And I feel like we could have gotten a few more goals.
Good question, Grumpy Grandpa. Any chance for a surprise formation change, or will the 11 be as predicted as it's been? I think it will be same.
As I said with Brad the other day, it's Stellini is Conte 0.5. He's not 2.0, he's 0.5 because he's not as good as Conte, but he's like for like. It's pointless. We should have just given it to Ryan Mason and let him manage the team, because Stellini is going to do the same thing Conte's done.
I don't think you mean that Ryan Mason is any better, but
no.
If you want to see a change in formation, then yes, Ryan Mason.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think he's better, but change.
This is another thing that I don't like, is the change for the sake of change, which a lot of fans have been asking for, like, oh, let's shift to our back four and stuff like that. But do you think a back four would work for us with the likes of current set of players that we have in this team at the moment?
I think there's 2 or 3. For me, I think we could have done it if we had Davies and Roy. If they were both fit, we could go back 4. We could probably play Langley, Romero, Davies, and Royal, and then play 3 in the middle. If everyone was fit, that's how I would play. I'd play the likes of Basuma, Bentancur, probably Skip, because Højbjerg has been quite crap lately. And then Kulu, Son, Kane. That would be the formation I would have played if we had everyone
4-3-3, right, I suppose.
4-3-3, yep. But with this system, if we're going 3 at the back, I do think that we can play 3 in the middle. It's just Kulu hasn't been playing very well. So if Kane and Son are both on, we can probably play someone in that attacking mid role, but we don't have an attacking mid. So I get what you're trying to say. There's no point changing it for the sake of it, but we've had a whole season of lackluster performances and not being able to create enough. And if we do create, we don't seem to score. So I think Didier's right. 3 in the middle. I think, especially against Bournemouth, our midfield was getting bypassed every single time when we were attacking. Højbjerg was non-existent. Skip was defensively good, but we couldn't move forward. And we seemed to just lump it up to the forwards, and they seem to be the only ones going forward. It's it won't change though. It's Stellini. He's Conte's boy, so he's going to do exactly what Conte's done.
Yeah, I feel that he would do the same thing, but again, I think that's the best he can do, because I don't think our centre backs are good enough for a back four. And the other thing is, you don't have a deep lying defensive mid as well who is fit, like Bissouma. If Bissouma would have been, yes, I would have played him as a deep lying defensive mid with either Højbjerg or Bentancur up front, or Skip and Bentancur up front. But right now we don't have that.
Yeah.
So, and then we don't have an attacking mid as well. That's another thing. Like, you can't play a 4-2-3-1 as well. So the other thing is that he's very limited with the options that he has in this club at the moment. Like, the way system is going.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot more defensive-minded players, and then we have kind of 5 or 6 attackers, and that's it. We don't really have the middle players, the midfielders to play it. But I do feel like we look much better.
The game makers, right? The playmakers and all that. We lacked in that department hugely. And that's another one that we haven't been spending and we haven't been looking for the longest of time now.
Well, I'm hearing Maddison is on the radar, and I'm hearing that the club has identified Maddison as a potential transfer regardless of what manager comes in.
Yeah, I've been
For
hearing
me,
that too.
gone for Madison for 2 years. I think he was the go-to midfielder. Can play in the middle and can play in that
But the thing
attacking mid
is,
role.
he's also on the radar of Liverpool. Was it Liverpool or
I think
Newcastle?
Newcastle as well.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see if we can match the bid that they are gonna put. But what is your score prediction? You going for a 2-2 draw?
2-2 draw or a 2-1 loss, I think. But I'll go for the 2-2 draw as my final prediction. I don't think
I
we're
think
going to.
2-2 draw as well for me.
Yeah,
2-2 draw as
I
well.
just can't see us beating Newcastle. Defensively, they're good. Going forward, they're good. We're quite. And lately, we've gone ahead and then we've fallen off. So it's for me, it's also the players. I don't think it's just the system. I think the players have kind of semi-down tools when we score. They
Yeah.
think they're good enough to hold the lead out, and defensively, we're shocking. And I'm going to put it to you: have you ever seen Dyer make a tackle? Because I
No,
haven't seen him make a tackle all season.
he has made some aerial duels that have been good, but tackle no.
No. And that's the crazy thing is we have a defender that doesn't make any tackles. And I know he's in the middle of the three, but Thiago Silva plays in that system. I guarantee he makes tackles. When City play three at the back, all three of their centre backs make tackles. The likes of Arke, Diaz, Laporte, all that sort of stuff. So for me,
I think outside only Romero is the one who makes tackles, not even Davis.
no, he's the only one that gets out and makes
what
tackles.
kind of defenders are these?
Yeah, and even I think Porro's made more tackles this season than Dyer has, and he's been in the team
Probably.
for
It won't
5-6
surprise
weeks.
me. Yeah,
So-
I agree with you. But I think we have been going over for like almost 2 hours now. Jason, let us know when you'll be live next and what kind of content do you guys do at Total Aussie Spurs?
Okay, so tonight we'll be live at 10:30 p.m. Australian time, so in about 10 hours. We'll be doing a live watch along for the Newcastle game. Probably be me by myself because the rest of the team have work tomorrow, but lucky me, booked it off. What we usually do is live watch alongs for the games with a half an hour pre-match analysis with the team, lineup and stuff. And then what we usually do is a couple of videos during the weeks with match reviews and match previews for both the game that's just gone and the game ahead. We are doing a couple of gaming streams with FIFA and Rocket League because it is with the football. So we kind of try and add that in. But that's more of a stagnant thing when we can do it. And we will be trying to become regulars on the Step Up Spurs Showtime show. So live watch-alongs and videos during the week. We'll be putting out more content in the new season, but it's just the end of season wrap-up is slowly halting things. But we will be available during the off-season with transfers and possible transfer targets once the season ends.
Yep, I agree with you. Definitely. One thing that I wanted to emphasize on you guys was because there are quite a few people who have been asking me that why I don't do FIFA content because I don't have FIFA. Firstly, I am not a FIFA person. So if you all want to catch up on FIFA content, go to Jason's channel. I don't know if KPV is here or not. KPV, if you're there, you want to watch FIFA, go. Jason is your man. He will, and you can even join him for the games as well. I think KPV does play FIFA. Do you play on Xbox or do you play on PS?
We play on PC, but I do have PS4 as well. There is cross-play. So end of the day, everything's cross-play now. So apart from pro clubs, it's we usually play a bit of pro clubs, but I do play seasons and some ultimate team as well. Variety, even career mode. I did start a Tottenham career mode and try and be as realistic as possible. I will be continuing that on, possibly tonight or possibly tomorrow, depending on how much time I have for the day. But yeah, happy to have people join in. Happy to have people jump on the stream and play. Open to anyone.
Yep. By the way, guys, I think there's 7-8 of you still in the stream right now. So if you can, please head over to Jason's channel, Total Aussie Spurs, and make sure you guys hit a like and a subscribe to his videos and watch some of his content there. Really great stuff. Really good conversations that he has with his teams as well. Like his teammates are quite good as well. I have listened to some of them. Really good team that he has. So make sure you guys go and get them to 100 as soon as possible. For all those of you watching on Twitter as well, if you're listening, yes, go over to Total Aussie Spurs and give Jason a follow, and then also hit a subscribe on his channel. And by the way, Jason, if you need a person to join you for the watch along tonight, I actually got no watch alongs tonight going on, so I can join you if you want.
More than happy to have you, mate. More than happy to have you.
Yeah, I'll join you tonight. So, guys, I'll be there at Jason's watch along tonight as well, as we have just decided. So you guys can catch me there too. And now for me, where I would be next, yeah, so I'll be doing the THFC Rant show with Will tomorrow on Tottenham away. As you all know, that Will Stewart 365 has now been branded into Tottenham away due to the nonsense that Paddy did with their channel, and Tottenham away has been taken out. So now it's called Tottenham Away. Will Stewart 365 has now been rebranded into Tottenham Away. So we'll be doing the THFC Rant show tomorrow morning around 8:30 a.m. Malaysian time, and I think this will be 10:30 a.m. Australian time. So THFC Rant show tomorrow, and then where I might be at the podcast as well on Monday, but we'll see how. And then I will be doing the stream for Man United game in the middle of the week. I'm trying to work out with the Man United fan if I can get someone during the week to do that stream. And all the updates will be coming over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So make sure you guys follow me there as well if you want to know what time I go live and all that, because sometimes my timing can be off. But I think I will be back next week, very likely with Jason and some others as well, for the Sunday morning show. Sunday morning for us, Saturday night for you guys there in US and UK. So make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe and do all those good stuff. Thanks, Jason, for joining me. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.